Hey, what's up, friend? Thanks for pressing play on this episode of the Jock and Nerd podcast. And it's a good one. We've got an international podcast crossover as Scott Meridew and David Molofsky from Podcapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape, join us for the show all the way from the UK. We start out with some Jock news. Anthony actually contributes and breaks down the upcoming Mayweather versus McGregor super fight. We share our memories of the late Adam West and chat about Wonder Woman, Justice League, Black Panther, the Spider-Man video game, and War for the Planet of the Apes. Plus, David gives us a quick spoiler review of The Mummy, and we take a look at Universal's Dark Universe. Can it work? Plus, the story of Podcapers and a whole bunch more geeky goodness, all in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Sunday, June 18th, 2017.
Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up. Be jocking, be nerding, be funny, disturbing. Be jocking, be nerding, be spoiler alert. Oh yeah. Be jocking, be nerding, be funny, disturbing. Oh yeah. Be jocking, be nerding, be spoiler alert. Give it up.
What's up, listener? Welcome back. Welcome to the Jock and Nerd podcast. Jock and Nerd, your weekly geek fest covering comic book and superhero-related news, reviews, and interviews. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
And he's the nerd.
Welcome back, Anthony. You woke? You know, last episode I told people I forgot where you were, but...
Yeah, you had no idea what was going on.
No, I remembered you told me, but I just clearly just shoved it out of my brain. Spring Awakening EDM, the Jock is a woke EDM jock now.
I'm alive, and I feel ready for the summer now.
That's good. The summer can continue. Joining us on this show, listener, two very exciting guests, friends of the show. The first guy you'll know if you are a loyal listener to the show. You may know him as the man who hates DC Comics.
Oh, shit.
He is also the host of Podcapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape. It's Scott Meridew. What's up, Scotty?
Not much except for podcasting, and more podcasting. I have the bug.
Yes, you get obsessed like me. Once you start, it's like a potato chip. You can't have just one. Also joining us is the guy that gave him the bug that spread his podcast herpes around. Editor and cape of the aforementioned A Place to Hang Your Cape. It's David Molofsky. What's up, D?
Hi guys, how's it going?
Very good, thanks. This is an internet.
He said that just like what Ruggs would say, but that's not how Ruggs would say it.
No, let's get a good Ruggs. Yeah, let's get a Ruggs.
What's up, dudes?
Okay.
Wowie zowie.
You should never do that again.
No, okay.
No,
you know, some people, Del Howard does it good. Some people have it. Some people don't. It's
I
okay.
do it as Donald Duck.
I think he broke his mic with him doing that.
Oh boy, I will. That's fine. Look, good effort, but now we could start. With just
Who cares? A jock said that.
the Ruggs is not here, but he is
Fuck him.
always here. If you're a new listener, here's what we're gonna get in this show. We're gonna do a bunch of comic book and superhero related geek news. We actually have some Jock news.
Bro, do you even podcast?
Which is surprising, and it's always exciting to me because I learn stuff. And then we're going to talk about Podcapers and some other things. So as always, you can follow along in the show notes, jockandnerd.com/172. And this is also part one of an international podcast crossover event. Just like
an international incident, I would say.
this is almost like an international incident.
Yeah.
No, this is like it's like Secret Wars or like Multiversity or it's a big
I like
event.
to think of it as the Marvel and DC crossover.
It's the amalgam of podcasts.
Yeah.
So we're doing this show, and then we're going to turn around and we're going to record an episode of Podcapers. So if you haven't checked out that show, there's the way in. We'll get you in ass first into Podcapers, and you can check it out.
Enema is the quickest way to the bloodstream.
Absolutely. That's why the beer chugs work for the frat kids these days, right? They're right up.
You're drunk instantly.
Right up the poop hole.
Yeah.
Point is, we're all going to learn something.
There, we've already learned how to get drunk really fast. You know what? Let's get to the news, you bastards.
The Jock and Nerd podcast.
Listener, if you want to contact us and ask us what else we do with our butthole. Just visit jockandnerd.com/contact for all the various means, our Twitter, our Facebook page, a lovely Facebook group where we all hang out, speak pipe email, all that fun stuff. Get in touch, get involved. Anthony, we're going to start with some Jock news, right? There's some sort of super fight, the biggest fight ever, the biggest pay-per-view, and it's not Superman versus Spider-Man. Although I'd like to see that. It's Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor.
Yeah, do you even know who any of those guys are, Imran?
I know one guy is a boxer and one guy is an MMA guy. Scott and David, are you guys combat sports fans at all?
Well, that depends. Do these combat sport guys play golf?
I don't think they do. Well,
I don't know golfers either, so I don't know why I mentioned that. I don't know sport. What do you want from me?
Okay.
Nice.
David?
I get most of my fight news from Tony, so I've been following Conor McGregor for a little while now, so he's my pick on this one.
All right, well, Anthony, break this down.
That's a terrible pick.
Did you? Okay, this is what I want to get into. Was this like in the works for a while, or is this like a surprise thing?
No, this isn't a surprise thing. This has been hinted at for at least a year and a half. I think maybe even 2 years. Conor McGregor put this out there a while back, and everyone's like, that'll never happen. And he's been winning fights and bringing his name up to the point where it's like, all right, maybe. And now it is happening. And it is a super fight in the sense that it's a top MMA guy or UFC guy, if you're not familiar with MMA, crossing over to a different sport, which is boxing, and fighting one of the best boxers of all time. So it is a
crazy.
super fight in that sense. It's not a legitimate fight though. Really,
it's going to be a boxing match.
It's a boxing match.
So who put this together? Dana White? Was this, or was it like both
that's
sides?
part of the reason that not a lot of people thought this could happen is like Dana White, UFC have a contract with McGregor, so they've never really allowed their fighters to cross over into boxing.
Yeah.
So they had to negotiate that. Then you had to negotiate with Floyd Mayweather, who is pretty difficult to negotiate with. So, yeah, there was a lot of things holding this back, but they got it done. A lot of people were wanting to see this. Why, I don't know, but they are looking to see this.
So it's sort of like Spider-Man going from Sony to the MCU.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, yeah. It's
And then
kind of like
America.
I made a connection.
Good analogy. This is going to be August 26th in Las Vegas, and Mayweather's coming out of retirement for this?
Yes, he is coming out of retirement for this.
Holy
fight.
crap. So all I know from doing a little research is Conor's never boxed before, like in an actual boxing match, right?
Yes, he's never fought in a boxing match before. This is correct.
Mayweather is 49-0.
Mayweather is maybe one of the top 5 best boxers ever.
Okay, so many questions. Like, for both of them, why would Mayweather put his fucking perfect record on the line? And why is McGregor just jumping into a sport he has no business in, maybe?
Okay, I'll answer that two different.
Okay.
I'll answer for each person. Mayweather looks at Conor McGregor and goes, this guy's going to make me close to $200 million.
Oh, shit.
And he has never boxed in his entire life. This is going to be the easiest payday I've ever had in my life.
I'll beat this fuck. Okay.
It's going to be
Fair
easy.
enough.
It's the easy. For McGregor, it is, I've never made more than 4 or 5 million in a single fight. I'm going to make close to 100 million in one
Holy
fight.
shit.
Yes, I'm doing this. I don't give a fuck if I get my ass killed. I'm making 100 million and I'm retiring.
Wow. I
So
mean,
it's a
So
complete
you're
money grab.
saying, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Pure and
all for
simple.
the money.
It's all the money.
All about the
There's
money.
nothing. I mean, McGregor might have like this weird, like, because he's just an athlete and he's super competitive. He might have this thing where he's like, if I can beat Mayweather. Like, he might think that. He probably does think that. He's delusional, but he probably does think that he could beat Mayweather. And if he did, it'd honestly be the biggest upset in all of sport.
holy crap.
If he beat Mayweather, but he's not going to beat Mayweather because Mayweather is the greatest boxer of one of the greatest boxers of our generation, and Conor McGregor has never boxed in his entire life.
So that's it's interesting because I saw a lot of people like Daniel Oscar on the Facebook page and Paul Chomo. I think everyone was like, I hope McGregor wins. But to me, I'm like, I want this old fuck to put this young guy down who's all cocky and thinks he can fucking come into somebody else's fucking backyard and take him down. So even though Mayweather's what, 40?
40, yeah.
Jesus.
He's been retired for 2 years.
How old's McGregor?
28. This is all the things that people are going to say to like hype you up, to be like, oh, he actually has a chance. Mayweather struggles against southpaws. McGregor's a southpaw. Mayweather's been retired for 2 years. He's 40 years old. McGregor's 28. He's younger. He has this one-shot KO power. It's all bullshit. The guy, that McGregor is not going to beat. I've made this comparison a few times. This is like taking a marathon runner and being like, all right, one night you're going to face Usain Bolt in the 100-meter dash.
Oh, shit.
You're going to beat him. No, it's not happening.
No.
It's running. It's like, this is fighting. It is fighting in the overall like umbrella of sport.
Yeah.
But it's not the same.
That's
isn't
interesting.
the same at all.
That's an interesting analogy, because if you actually take a photo of a marathon runner and put it next to a photo of a sprinter, they are opposite body types. You'll
we
clearly
have
see the
seen
difference.
this already on the opposite end.
Oh.
So James Toney is a legendary boxer. Okay.
Yeah.
He decided to fight in UFC against Randy Couture. Randy Couture is a legendary UFC fighter. That fight was so uncompetitive, it was a joke. Randy Couture destroyed James Toney in an MMA fight. Just like what's going to happen on the flip side.
So this is just a big cash grab. Is this good? Is it good for combat sports in general? Is this a good thing?
Is it a good thing? Yeah, I mean, any attention is, I guess, good. There is like a freak. They call this in Japan, and Dana White usually calls this a freak show factor, where it's just like curiosity. Yeah. And I mean, in that case, yeah, it's good. I mean, these guys are both going to get paid. There's going to be a ton of attention. Is it actually like a competitive thing? No. If you think this is competitive, there's four things. You've misread too many clickbait articles. You're a huge, you're a big Irish fan that loves Conor McGregor and is just delusional, or you're just an absolute idiot. Like, there's nothing that's going to be competitive about this.
So what's going to happen? I've read that Mayweather is like a defensive fighter and Conor is offensive. Is this going to go the full, 12 rounds? You tire him out, or will this be a quick one?
It'll go as long as Mayweather wants it to go.
Oh, he's the one that's going to end it. Be like, okay,
this.
Yes, I got a dinner reservation in 3 hours. Let's just fucking
he'll
clean this up.
Go all 12 rounds just to fuck with him.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's not gonna. You're gonna the lead up to this fight will be amazing. It'll be the best shit talk you've ever heard. Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor are two of the best promos ever. But once the fight happens, you're gonna feel like you've wasted your money.
So I think the moral of the story is I need to go call my bookie and get the money on Mayweather off of McGregor.
Is that an easy bet there, Anthony? What do you think?
Betting on Mayweather?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but the odds are so high that you're not going to make anything. But there's actually a ton of money coming in on McGregor just because there's so many people that love this guy.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
If
you threw down a small bet on McGregor, if you had $100 to spare,
you get major returns.
You get some big return if he wins, but I'm telling you, he's not going to win.
All right, any other? Who do you, Meridew? Based on all this, who do you think's going to win?
I think probably using my elite statistical brain that analyzes and algorithmizes various sports patterns, I am going to say Howard the Duck.
There you go.
Okay. Howard the Duck will win the Mayweather-McGregor fight. David, prediction.
I don't have as much of a, analytical mind as Scott does. He uses, he uses a lot of logic. I'm going to go with my heart. And for me, I'm going to have to say Beta Ray Bill.
Beta Ray Bill, the horse-faced Asgardian. I like both of those picks. I hope Venom wins. But man, huge pay-per-view.
This was worth discussing because it is going to be one of those crossover events that everybody's going to be talking about.
Like as big as a Mike Tyson fight or a Muhammad Ali back in the day kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to compare because boxing was a much more prevalent sport, but this is about as popular as boxing. Like when Floyd Mayweather fought Manny Pacquiao, that was huge, and this is going to be just as big.
Well, this thing's going to pull
reasons, though.
Yeah, it's going to pull in the boxing fans and then the MMA fans, so you're getting a double hit of audience.
And the very casual audience, the casual fan knows who Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather are.
Yeah. He is the face. Wow, good stuff. August 26th, Las Vegas. Get your pay-per-view. It's probably going to be a lot of money.
It's probably going to be $100.
$100, and the fights may last 10 seconds. Who knows?
No, it'll probably go. It might go. Honestly, it'll probably go. Here's my prediction: it'll probably go all 12 rounds and be really boring because Mayweather is a very awesome defensive fighter, but he is a defensive fighter, and McGregor is not an aggressive fighter. He's actually a counter puncher. So they are both going to be staring at each other for a while.
They're just going to wait for someone to maybe strike, and so
whoever blinks first loses.
Yep.
Yes. How can you both, like, if you're both counter strikers, nothing happens. Somebody's got to fucking strike first.
That is the inherent boredom when two counter punchers fight each other.
Good stuff. Super fight. Yes. Okay. Let's move on to some sad nerd news. We lost a Batman. We lost one of the remaining living Batmen. Adam West passed away last past week, 88, after a short battle with leukemia. But like being a Batman is kind of like being a president. Like we have so many living presidents left. We have so many living Batmans left. And man, this one, you know, he had a crazy long career. An icon to many people, their first live action on screen Batman. So I just want to go around the room because you guys are a bunch of young fucking punks, and I'm curious as to how.
Finally, I'm on a show.
Right? You're not with 40-year-olds.
Yeah, we've got 40-year-olds telling me what's cool.
The nerd is outnumbered in the millennial group. It's a takeover. Okay, look, let's start with Anthony. What is your remembrance of Adam West? Like what did you think of him growing up?
So he is actually still my first Batman as well.
Excellent.
Because he was on TV and I threw that on and I thought this was, as a kid, you were like, you didn't think it was wacky. You were like, this is a cartoon just with real people now.
Yeah. Yep.
And this is who Batman is. I guess this is cool. I enjoyed it. I thought, I didn't realize until I got older that it was so campy. But at the time, he was at 6, 7 years old, the definitive Batman for me. Yeah. So I enjoyed the 60s era Batman up until I started growing some pubic hair.
Pubes ruins everything.
Pubes ruin everything. That's
you
the
are
problem.
right. The show is amazing because you can see it two different ways. You see it as a kid and you take it seriously and you're excited and it gets you going. Then you come back and watch it as an adult and you're like, holy shit, these are adults just tongue-in-cheek deadpan giving these fucking ridiculous lines in these costumes, but you kind of respect it for that tongue-in-cheek nature that they were able to pull off. Meridew, what's your relationship to the Adam West?
Honestly, I wasn't very familiar with the old Batman TV series. I knew a bit about it. I knew it was silly. I knew it was campy. I knew he had, like, bat shark spray and things like that. To date, I've only ever seen one episode. And
get out.
It's the most enjoyably ridiculous thing I have ever seen in my life. The thing that really sticks out for me is, like, it's at the end. Like, it's one with Catwoman. I think it was Julie Newmar. And he's just foiled her plan. And they're, like, in an alleyway somewhere just after having foiled her plan, and she's got like this device, and then he just sort of like takes the device from her. It's like, okay, so how does this work? And she's like, oh, you just press that button and the thing. Okay. Oh yeah, I see now. I've got it. That's literally how they talk. That's not me exaggerating. It's the most casual conversation about, I don't know, like a doomsday weapon I have ever seen. It was brilliant. And I don't know if they were taking it seriously or if that was part of the humor or they just didn't know what to do. But I just thought it was really, really funny and enjoyable. And I may watch more, I may not, I don't know. But
I would watch the whole, there's not many episodes, but I think they were taking it seriously. They knew that some of this, there was a lot of clever, tongue-in-cheek writing and for the adults, and West is just deadpan, sincere delivery made it work.
Because he's an actor that really, really commits to whatever he's doing. He's done a lot of voiceover work in later years, and a lot of it was very comic, and he stuck to the comedy like glue. It was and completely
he
sincere.
Pulls it off. Yes, and that's the only way this Batman would have worked. David, you what's your memories of Mr. Adam West?
So, like Scott, I haven't watched much of the classic Batman show either. I've seen a lot of clips, and I think I watched the movies at one point, but I really can't say I've ever watched a full episode. But my my main memory of Adam West is when he guest starred on the Batman animated series as the Gray Ghost.
Yes,
I think
great
that's
episode.
one of those
Yeah.
classic episodes, and it's great. And then also, of course, as Mayor West on
Family Guy. Yeah. And he played himself on The Simpsons.
Fairly Odd Parents. He was Catman.
Oh, wow. No, man, the show even featured, it was very progressive. If you think about, they had a black Catwoman, they had a Latino Joker. There was an episode where like Batman's fighting for the hippies, late in the season. And even the police were portrayed as like the establishment were just bubbling idiots. And Batman actually used logic and detective skills, and he was smart, and it was more, using his brain over brute force. I think they put out the DVDs remastered. I would highly recommend checking that out, because I think
it's all on Netflix too.
And it's on Netflix. I think more people have watched the movie, which is not the best. It works better as a TV show. The cliffhangers, they would run this like on concurrent nights, and I don't think anybody did that before.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yes. And then you'd hear that and something dramatic would happen, but it's not really dramatic. LA turned on the bat signal this Thursday to remember Adam West. I think they have Batman Day in September. I think like every large city should just shoot a bat signal in the sky every Batman Day. How awesome would that be? Batman signs all over the world at once.
Yeah. It's a very fitting tribute.
All right, Imran.
Then the next time Batman dies, he has to be, bat signals at half mast.
Oh no, half bat signal. Yeah, you just show a half of it. We will. There is more Adam West Batman coming out. Actually, at Powerless, that really shitty TV show that got canceled. They didn't release their last 2 episodes. The next episode has Adam West starring on it, and it's online for free for a short time. And then he did record his vocals for the Cape Crusaders animated sequel. So we will still hear posthumous Adam West as Batman when that sequel.
If you watch Kick-Ass, the first one, Nick Cage is basically doing an Adam West impersonation the entire film when he's Big Daddy or whatever the fuck his superhero name is.
That's right. Like, and then like it was like the William Shatner like delivery of acting. I don't know if that must have been a big thing back then. They probably hung out together. Like it was very similar to Shatner's delivery. I also reached out to our buddy Eric Sharkey, filmmaker, who has directed Adam West in his first movie, Sexina Popstar PI. We're gonna get him on.
Not Adam West's first movie.
Not Adam West's first movie. Eric's first movie. He got Adam West to be the boss in this in this B movie, campy movie. So we'll get some audio from him and share some Adam West stories, what it was like to direct Adam West, which I thought that would be pretty cool to get. But man, the guy provided hours of entertainment for me as a kid in the summers watching these Batman reruns over and over and over again. And to be fair, the comics at the time were kind of that wacky. Like this was back when you had word balloons on the covers, and they would have just like a ridiculous situation. And the show picked up on that. And they also gave us Mr. Freeze. They renamed Mr. Zero Mr. Freeze, and Barbara Gordon also created for the 66 TV show as Batgirl. So a lot of lasting stuff this show gave.
Well, I mean, I didn't even know that. Crikey. Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, enough sad stuff. Let's talk about Wonder Woman.
He did live a nice old life.
I just love that he understood what his role was and had fun with his career and kept making kind of fun of himself.
Even though he was typecast and he couldn't get a lot of work afterwards, he still persevered. He still looks back on the series with with humor and warmth. And he loved his fans, and we loved him, frankly.
Yeah, and I'm glad he kind of had a resurgence in the public eye with his voiceover work.
Impromptu, Scott, or were you reading that?
No, I'm just naturally witty like that.
This is a nice eulogy. Okay, let's talk about Wonder Woman's box office for a second, because holy crap,
Wonder
this
Woman's
thing.
Box? Yes, let's talk about that.
Yes, let's talk about Wonder Woman's box.
Wonder Woman
office.
Box orifice? I'm in.
The box orifice. The box
I feel like there were a fair amount of crotch shots in that film, especially when the Amazons were jumping around. I'm just throwing that out there.
There were, though. You're right. There was a lot of great butt shots, a lot of great crotch shots. This movie domestically has made $274 million worldwide, and it's at 571 million.
Oh, shit.
And some change in 17 days of release. That means Patty Jenkins's biggest, the fourth female director to ever reach that milestone.
Here's a couple comparisons so that you can kind of see where it's ranking. In 15 days,
Yeah.
it domestically now, it has beaten what Man of Steel did in 15 days.
Yes, and it'll probably beat its gross.
It has
like the
also
whole thing.
beaten Mockingjay 2.
What was that, Hunger Games?
Yeah. Another female-led
Oh, yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that's actually
superhero-ish kind of thing.
It was number one 2 weeks in a row. It put down The Mummy. It had a really small drop off. Similar, for a superhero movie, I haven't seen this since the first Spider-Man movie came out. This week though, Cars 3 and the fucking Tupac movie pushed it down to number 3. But to be expected, especially in a summer, this summer and next summer, where there's a blockbuster movie coming out one right after another. To manage to hold it for 2 in a row is very good in the summer. So, man,
we'll get to this later. But if you're a blockbuster and you're not number 1 on your first weekend, Mummy, you are in deep shit.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
you are. Let me throw this out to the group. Do you guys think now with this Wonder Woman that this is Jeff Johns' course correction is actually working? You know, when he came in, he was like, I'm going to put in hope and optimism. There's going to be heroics, more humor and heart. And you see all of that in this movie. Will it carry on to Justice League? What do you guys think?
No.
You think they're going to blow it?
No.
This is the man that hates DC.
That's correct. But,
I've been actually accused of hating DC, but now we actually have the guy that actually
Here's the thing,
does.
though.
Yeah.
Do you know how good this movie is? Do you want to know how good this movie is? I have seen it twice.
Wow.
I never see a movie in the theaters more than once. Even the really good ones. I saw this twice, once alone and once with friends. But still, it brought me back, and I enjoyed it just as much as the first time.
Hey.
Excellent.
Yeah.
High praise, but you don't think they're gonna be able to keep this up? Is she gonna be like? Is this wasting a great character in a movie with a bunch of fucking mopey fucks that are barely developed in Justice League? Is that what's gonna happen?
I mean, I'm worried more that you've heard my thoughts on the color in Justice League, and I think that alone kind of sets the tone and says exactly what we're gonna get, which is not Wonder Woman.
This thing had color.
I will be slightly more optimistic, although I can't be with Zack Snyder. Although he's not involved anymore in Justice League, but it's his film.
Yeah, it's mostly
his film still. So that obviously worries me. I've railed on Snyder for a while now. I think Wonder Woman was the first movie though that Jeff Johns was actually working on and actually could help with.
Yes.
So hopefully there's a course correction with maybe the other films that come out. Justice League, I'm a lot worried about actually, but I think Wonder Woman is obviously a step in the right direction. And with all this positive feedback, we've noticed that DC is quite reactionary when it comes to the feedback they receive with Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Suicide Squad. They noticed it and have changed their films. Like Suicide Squad got edited a lot and made worse because of the reaction that they got from Batman vs. Superman. So hopefully they're seeing this reaction to Wonder Woman, the positivity, and they're taking the right cues and hopefully can move it on to other things.
Note to all DC executives, make films better by hiring good writer-directors. This ends the memo.
There you go. Yeah.
It's not
I will
hard.
say I'm more hopeful about Aquaman than I am about Justice League.
Yeah.
I agree.
think especially because that's one of the characters that Johns really took control of in the comics and is clearly really loves. So I don't know. And also the shots that we've seen from Aquaman have color in it. So
yes, lots of color. And I think hopefully they've taken the lesson that when you have a single character film, don't fucking try to set up anything else. Just focus on one storyline. And I think largely that's what helped Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and a lot of films can learn from that. The Mummy.
One thing about the Aquaman real quick is even though Jeff Johns had a huge role in making Aquaman a thing again, the character of Aquaman that Jeff Johns wrote is not the same as this dirty pirate that we're getting that Zack
that's
Snyder
true.
kind of is making. So they are kind of two different guys. Like the Aquaman, it seems like that we're going to get from Zack Snyder is like a weird, thrill-seeking pirate, dirty motherfucker that should act kind of like Namor.
Yeah,
and that's not really
Jason
Aquaman.
Momoa.
Yeah,
basically
Jason Momoa.
I mean, he looks like in Frontier in that Netflix show. Like he looks exactly the same. It's
Whereas
just the
Jeff
dirty
Johns
hairy.
as Aquaman is
He's a clean
not,
cut.
He's a cleaner guy, and he's not. I mean, he is like loyal to his kingdom, but he's not this like dirty motherfucker.
I mean, never mind the fact that Arthur Curry is blonde hair and blue eyed. Like it's a completely different visual look.
The visual look is obviously going to be different, but the personality seems to be different. So we'll see what happens.
That should be interesting. So speaking of Justice League, we know, Zack Snyder suffered a tragedy and stepped away from the reshoots, handing him over to the Joss Whedons. Some of these reshoots, there's some pictures have come out, and speculation is like one of these may be the Hall of Justice. You kind of see like a wooden structure, and there's a little bit of like a round arch thing. I don't know.
I'll show you a round arch thing.
I'll show you my
bitch.
round arch thing.
Oh, shit.
Wow, that's aggressive for no reason.
That's what you get when the job
Do
is
you
back.
need a reason?
No.
Do you really need a reason?
I heard you
No.
shit talking me the other show, saying I'm not a real jock, you son of a bitch.
I don't remember anything I've said on
Yeah.
any previous show. I take the fifth. What do you guys think of these pictures? Like, is this the Hall of Justice?
I'm betting
I
it's
gotta
going to
look
be
at
like a
pictures.
city hall or something.
Or just like
it could go either way, to be perfectly honest. You never know with DC. You think, oh, this could be one thing. It turns out this thing was a completely different thing. They pulled the rug out from under us. We were expecting something good, and they gave us something meh.
well,
They have confirmed that the Watchtower will be in it, though. So I think it would be weird to do the Hall of Justice and the Watchtower, especially in the first movie.
the space their space offices is going to be in it. Cool.
It was like something like that. There was something about how like Batman's Batmobile they were going to have like a flying fortress of some sort.
Holy shit! That sounds like a lot to shove into this movie already.
Ellie Carrot.
yeah, basically.
I liked it the first time, or it could be Steppenwolf's lair.
knows?
The other change is the composer, Junkie XL. Well, first Hans Zimmer said after Batman vs Superman, "I'm done with superhero movies. See ya, fuckers. I'm out." Leaving Junkie XL, who was was he removed? Did he leave? Did they fire him? Basically, Danny Elfman.
Oh, shit.
Is now composing the Justice League this late in the game. When the movie comes out in November, they've brought him on to be the composer.
That's the best news I've heard about Justice League since they started shooting.
Oh shit! Okay, so that's good news.
Danny Elfman, save this movie.
Here's the thing about the Elfman, though.
Dun, 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 dun.
Exactly. To your humming there, Elfman really hasn't made like a memorable tune since like Batman '89 or the Nightmare Before Christmas. Like he did Spider-Man. Can anyone hum the fucking Sam Raimi Spider-Man tune? No, it's completely forgettable. I hope he could bring.
I can't do it. I'm sorry. I thought I could, but I can't.
No, but you can hum fucking Batman '89. In a second. So
My favorite Danny Elfman is always the Simpsons theme song.
yes, he did the fucking Simpsons, but like he
Jesus Christ! Please stop him! Someone stop him!
So Junkie XL
We
said
do
on
musicals
Twitter,
on our show, okay? We
It's
sing.
not the musical; it's the fact that your shit mic is like it's crackling, and you speak in a soft tone. It's just not working.
we apologize for David's crackling mic. He's got a lot of cereal in there. So Junkie XL said on Twitter, as my mentor Hans Zimmer told me, you haven't made it in Hollywood as a composer until you get replaced on a project. So I guess I finally graduated this week. It pains me to leave the project, but a big thanks to Zach for asking me to be part of his vision, and I wish Danny, Joss, and Warner Brothers all the best with Justice League. So he was removed. Replaced.
So I've got a fun fact about this.
Yes.
I was actually going to save it for the Podcapers.
No, give us all the good shit, and then
Give us the good shit.
Spider-Man.
Fuck your show.
David, what are you doing? Are you insane?
Danny Elfman and Hans Zimmer are the only two composers who have worked on both Spider-Man and Batman
Oh,
films.
nice!
Ooh,
Geek boner.
I like that.
Those are the only two names that I would even recognize.
Right? People. Well, Michael Giacchino is kind of getting
Fun-
big.
fun-
Yeah, and Brian Taylor, who does a lot of the Marvel movies.
Fun fact, somewhat
Yeah.
fun fact, actually.
Yeah. Better
Hans
be
Zimmer was one of the performers at Coachella this year.
Oh yeah, he's going around doing
He's doing
concerts in
festivals.
arenas and shit. And so is he playing? I guess he's playing his movie music. I would go watch
what
that.
I've read,
Is he playing like Inception?
what I heard, it was one of the most mind-blowing things ever because he had like full orchestra out there.
Dude, his shit for Interstellar is great. I would go. Actually, I would love to see that. That'd
I'm
be
hoping
really
that
fucking cool.
Hans Zimmer comes to Chicago one day. Maybe a little.
That'd be cool.
If he comes to like Lollapalooza, I'd spring down some money.
Anthony, I think he's actually playing either Rosemont Theater or Allstate Arena. I saw it somewhere. So the Hans Zimmer concert. We should try to go to that. I would totally go see that. He's great. But look, we're gonna get Danny Elfman. Hopefully he can.
But we're gonna get Danny
give us
Elfman now instead.
Yeah, we're getting Danny Elfman for Justice League. Maybe it'll be memorable. Probably not.
What's this?
What?
What's this? It's a piece of kryptonite. What's this? It seems to be really shite.
One thing though is DC. I'll give them credit for this. Their themes and their films resonate much more than anything Marvel's done.
Yeah, the Wonder Woman theme.
Man of Steel theme works too.
Oh yeah.
How about the
that's true.
Ant-Man theme, though? The Ant-Man theme?
Yeah, can you hum a few bars for that for us,
dum
Meridew?
dum 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 dum. Just me?
Is that how it goes?
Is that the
Oh, I don't know.
from him?
That's Ant-Man. Am I the only one that liked the Ant-Man theme? Am I alone in this?
Marvel.
So I've got a
Yeah, I'm alone in this. Okay.
So I've got a Comic-Con pump-up playlist that I listen to whenever
Okay.
I'm going to Comic-Con. I put all the soundtracks on it.
That is nerdy.
And I swear,
It's very
yeah,
nerdy.
no, I know. I got some really nerdy songs on there too. Like, anyway, we can get into it later. But I will say that sometimes a song will come on, and I just legitimately have to check: is this X-Men? Is this Avengers? Is this Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is this?
Marvel's stuck using the temp music as their music sometimes. Hey, does that playlist end with White and Nerdy by Weird Al Yankovic? Because it really should. Yeah.
No, but I need to put some Yankovic on there.
that is by far, dude. That is. I'm
pretty
surprised
good.
you get laid. That is real fucking nerdy. Holy shit! You have a Comic-Con pump up playlist.
How else
yeah,
are you
dude.
supposed to get pumped up
my
for Comic-Con?
God. Oh my god!
There's actually a song out there called "Take Me to Comic-Con," and that's what I listen to
Oh,
every day when I go to
no.
Comic-Con. And I walk out the door, and it's like,
Is it like a parody of Take Me to
pretty
Church?
good this year. No, it's like a legit band that like does like really nerdy songs.
This is like
Another one is called like "Geeks Will Take Over the World" or something.
this is like the weirdest catch-22 for me because I'm happy I have fellow millennials on, but then he says
Yeah.
things like this, and I'm just like, oh my god!
You're like, where are those fucking 40-year-olds?
Jesus Christ.
Just bring them back. At least they're not. They don't have a
Like,
Comic-Con.
and I
Don't
think
worry,
our-
Tony. I'll send you the Spotify playlist.
Oh
don't
my
worry.
god! And I don't know
shit.
if, and I think our listeners are actually probably like, yes, I can agree with that.
I have one too. We should share playlists. I'll follow
This
yours.
show will never get laid.
There's nothing wrong. Look, you have an you must listen to EDM. It's like you listen to EDM music on the way to fucking Spring Awakening or whatever, right? Anthony?
Yeah, similar. It's just I've never heard anybody say that before.
That's pretty
That's
good. We
great.
learned something about Molofsky. I like that. Okay, let's move on to some more exciting MCU news. Last episode, at the very end, we had touched on the Black Panther trailer because it had just come out, and me and Russ.
Can I get my thoughts on there? Okay.
Yes, of course. That's why I put it
Yay.
back in here, because now we've had time to digest it, to break it down. It got 89 million views in 24 hours.
Shit.
Not bad. Anthony, I'm dying to know what your thoughts are on this first teaser trailer. It's a teaser, but it's like a fucking
teaser,
full
but then
trailer.
it's like almost 2 minutes. That's not. Is that really a teaser? Semantics. Anyways, I must have watched this trailer 30 times.
It's got 24 million views
there's at
on
least
the
30
one
of
by
those are
Marvel.
coming from me. And I've watched like Easter eggs and trailer breakdowns.
Yeah.
I loved it. There's so much that going on in there, and
Yes.
this is going to be the movie. I read a comment on Birth Movie's Death, but this movie is going to be the movie that it's going to have that same impact for women, or for Wonder Woman had for women, that it's going to have for African, like the African American.
Absolutely.
Like, this movie is the shit. I mean, when you have that cast in that setting, I mean, in that much diversity, it is. This movie's huge. There's
And
so
there
much.
is two white guys. There's still
It
two
does
white
open
guys.
with
So
two
the
white
white people
guys.
don't be
It does
scared.
open with two white guys.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny. That,
evens
like,
it out.
The white people will be okay.
first shot.
But I think, I just want to say that this movie also looks different than anything Marvel's ever put out. And the Wakanda stuff looks great. And the mixing of old culture with this highly technological advanced society is a sight to see. And I'm super excited for it. The end shot was a little too CGI for me, but other than that.
Oh, the flipping, the car flipping? It's still badass.
They weren't ready. I don't think that shot wasn't ready for prime time.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
I mean, great teaser, doesn't give away much of the plot, but you see the sets look fantastic. The costume looks fantastic. The action looks fantastic. Forrest Whitaker, as in that, he's the one with all the dots on his face, the dot makeup. He's like the mentor named Yuri, I believe. He looks amazing. Meridew, what'd you think of the trailer?
Well, here's the thing. I haven't seen it. I avoid all Marvel trailers, so I can enjoy it when I go and see it for the first time.
Oh, I can understand.
I appreciate that discipline.
It's hard.
And like,
it's very hard.
Yes.
The second I saw it, I thought, I want to see that. No, resist so you can enjoy the film in its entirety when you go and see it.
Wow.
Damn, that's not bad. That's what I've been trying to do with the Spider-Man.
Shut up, Imran.
But
you jump on spoilers quicker than anybody.
I still have not watched the whole third trailer, and we'll get to that. Spoiler, it was not true anyways. But David, thoughts on the trailer?
Like Tony, I've watched it a whole bunch of times. I'm loving it. I think Michael B. Jordan is what stands out for me the most in it. Like his character, I think is Killmonger.
Killmonger, yeah.
Oh, I just kept watching like his little clips over and over. That he looks so badass.
Yeah, the whole thing, the colors look great, man. I can't wait.
The comment that I read on Birth Movie's Death, because it's by a black guy, and he goes, "This is my Wonder Woman." Like, do y'all realize how long N-words been with an A? Been waiting to see the powerful African nation of Wakanda on the big screen with a black director / writer, and this is the cast.
That's awesome. I mean, imagine you're a little black kid watching this, and you're like, "Oh my god, it's a black superhero!" Like,
not only that, but you're getting Wakanda, which is like everything like that's filmed in Africa is basically like this is like a backwards ass fucking country that's so poor. And now you're getting like culture, but you're getting a country that like secretly has been in hiding and is actually way more like if you would have just left Africa alone, maybe this is what would have happened.
The Afrofuturism. Word.
Ooh, Afrofuturism. I like that. Highly technological. So you know how Ulysses Claw says it was called El Dorado? What's the name? And I was like, what is that significance of that? El Dorado means the golden one, and it was the term used by the Spanish Empire to describe a mythical tribal chief of the Muisca native people of Colombia, who, as an initiation rite, covered himself with gold dust and submerged in Lake Guadalajara. The legend surrounding El Dorado changed over time as it went from being a man to a city to a kingdom, and then finally an empire. And like that, once I read this, that line just got me even more excited to see what they're going to do with this movie. Now, I found this interesting article from theheatstreet.com.
Sounds credible.
I don't know what this is, but look, the title revealed tensions on set of Black Panther because of Marvel's unofficial affirmative action policy. It says here, Marvel, Heat Street has been told by a well-placed source at Marvel that an edgy atmosphere existed on set during the filming of Black Panther. The source said there was more tension on the set of Black Panther than on any Marvel movie I've worked on previously. The source, speaking on condition of anonymity, said the antagonism arose from Black Panther's personal setup. He said the Black Panther cast is predominantly African-American, which of course suits the material. But in addition to the performers in the movie, Marvel and Disney also took to the decision to ensure there were black staffers high up in every department of the Black Panther crew. This affirmative action policy might be fine in theory, but unfortunately in practice, a certain level of stress existed between new members of the crew and some Marvel veterans. The tension wasn't ever about race. It was moreover decisions relating to the day-to-day filming process and shooting of action sequences in the movie, end quote. Coogler hired what the official Marvel press release described as his creative brain trust. This included production designer Hannah Beachler, costume designer Ruthie Carter, and co-writer Joe Robert Cole, all of whom are black. The source added, Ryan Coogler really knows what he's doing, and hopefully that movie will turn out great, but things weren't helped by the fact that Chadwick Boseman kept behaving like a difficult star throughout shooting and was far more demanding and exacting in how he behaved to the crew than previous Marvel leading men. I just thought this was interesting. You know, Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, this is the third movie they've worked on together. If he brought in his costume designer, she nailed it because the fucking costumes look great. What do you guys think? Do you think this is, could this be true or is this is weird?
Fake news.
Was this fake news?
Yeah,
I don't even care.
I'm calling shenanigans.
Yeah, I mean, none of this has been, it's like an unnamed source. None of it's revealed, but I found it interesting in is the state of affairs everything is, but it looks fucking badass. So if the result is a great movie, then cool.
I'm so tempted to watch it now.
You know, it's weird also, Marvel canceled 2 Black Panther spin-off comics also, which I thought was weird when you're trying to promote a Black Panther movie coming up.
Like spin-offs of the film?
No, it was spin-offs of like Black Panther, the one Black Panther title. World of Wakanda and Black Panther and the Crew were both canceled. Weird stuff. Weird stuff, but the movie Meridew, the trailer looks awesome.
I applaud you. Stay strong, buddy.
Stay strong.
Keep your dick in your pants, dude.
Stick to your guns. So
I always do.
So speaking of getting spoiled and Spider-Man, last episode, I was such a fucking idiot and I made Ruggs reveal something that may have been in the novelization. And then I cut it out because I was like, I can't. And apparently, and I knew I was overreacting because it turns out that Zendaya role has been debunked. I'm just going to, just whatever it was debunked. I don't even want to say who they said she was, but I'm an idiot.
I will say it seemed like an interesting way to position the character.
It did.
Without going into the details, but
Yes.
it felt like actually that made a lot of sense. So when I heard what it was, I was like, okay, that actually could work. But at the same time, I'm really glad that that's not the case.
But are they just fucking with us? Because if you need to not know that going into this movie, because it's like a huge plot point could be.
Yeah, we're going to just protect Scott's little ears and not say what it was.
No, we're not going to say what it was, but it's not true.
It's also it's also terrible for our listeners because we're talking about something as if everyone knows what it is, but we're not saying what it is. So that for a listener listening to this show, they're like, okay, move on.
I'm just
That's
saying,
what we should
yes,
do.
we're moving on. Ignore all that shit from last episode. Spider-Man Homecoming.
Thank you.
They are projecting 90 to 108 million debut opening weekend, which seems low.
Yeah,
For a
And that's
Spider-Man
what-
movie.
everyone was going bonkers when Wonder Woman made 100 million.
That's true,
Oh.
but I don't think they had a lower expectation for that. But this is a Spider-Man, first solo Spider-Man movie in a long time.
Tony, let me give you some perspective. The first Spider-Man movie was the first movie ever to make 100 million in the first weekend.
Right.
Oh,
So
wow.
this is 15, 16 years later. We should be seeing 150 minimum.
At least.
Yeah, but you're
that's a good point.
also not factoring in that we've had 5 Spider-Man films
Yeah.
since
Yeah,
then.
no, I think it's,
And the 2 previous ones were both disappointments.
yeah, it's probably just the bad taste left in everyone's
Right.
mouth by Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo.
But so is that why you think they're fucking spoiling this whole movie everywhere? Because they don't think people have still figured out that this is a different Spider-Man?
Oh yeah,
This-
that is exactly.
Jesus, fuck.
That is part. The whole marketing plan is that this is
Stop.
part of the MCU.
It's also all the banner posters I've seen over here have had Iron Man featured as big as
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it makes it seem like this is the Spider-Man Iron Man movie. And it's like, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be a big box office draw for it. But if they're only anticipating this much, then I'm very concerned.
Yeah, that's weird.
I'm not concerned. I think they will do just fine. It will be just fine.
The problem is it's a tight turnaround because I think the next week, War for the Planet of the Apes comes out the following week, following Spider-Man, and that
It'll be fine.
It'll be
fine. Don't worry. Do not worry.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have that much of a crossover audience. Like, I think
yeah.
everyone who was going to see both movies will see both on
Yeah.
opening weekend.
Yeah.
and that like Spider-Man's more for kids, whereas Planet of the Apes really isn't.
No, not at all for kids.
That's a good point. Meridew, I'm with you on this one. I'm really trying not to spoil
This movie will be fine. Don't worry.
Woo,
Whenever I go to the cinema and they show trailers, these things,
Oh
I
my
have
God.
to put my fingers in my ear, and
I did that this
I
time.
get
So-
a lot of weird looks.
I saw a trailer for it before Wonder Woman, and then they showed a different trailer before The Mummy last night, and I was
no.
like, I just turned to my wife and I was like, I'm going to talk to you through this whole trailer just so I don't pay attention to it.
I was afraid during Wonder Woman they were going to show the trailer. I didn't want to watch it. And then I was like, what would I do? And I just like put my head down and grab my ankles and pretend like a plane is crashing.
That is the twerk position. Please never do
yes.
that.
Grab your ankles, kiss your ass, goodbye, everybody. Okay, there is a new Spider-Man game coming out next year for the PS4. They have given us, I guess this was E3, an 8-minute gameplay video, and holy crap.
Geek boner.
This, I almost makes me want to buy a PlayStation 4. This looks like Arkham Asylum for Spider-Man in terms of gameplay, cutscenes, storytelling. So you guys get a chance to see any of this video?
I watched a little bit of it the other day, and I think what I learned from it is that I clearly have not been playing video games for a long time, because I think the last Spider-Man game I played, and you can watch the YouTube video of me playing it, was like the Return of Electro on the PS2 or something.
Yeah.
And like the difference in the graphics from that to the, like, if you told me this was like
A movie or
a movie, this was like some of like their, obviously the skin tones of the real people, but like some of the shots of Spider-Man, if you were just like, this is just, footage from the new movie, I would have totally been like, why is his suit white?
Except for the big white stupid spider emblem.
Yeah.
But
Except for that, but it looks real.
holy crap. This is a 23-year-old college graduate, Peter Parker. It's not the Homecoming continuity. He's working as a scientist. He's got a big white emblem, and on Twitter they've said that it will be explained in game. There is a reason. There'll be other suits, but holy God, it starts out with like a stealth mode where he's crawling around the girders and you see him with explosive webbing and he's quietly webbing up guys, and it just looks amazing. Then the second half of this thing is this unfucking believable helicopter scene where he's saving a crane and he's chasing this helicopter. It looks like a fucking movie, and I can't wait to watch this on YouTube while other people play it, because I can't afford a PlayStation 4. There's no way. Anthony, what do you think of this?
I'm watching it now, and you're definitely right. This is the Batman Arkham style of gaming that was made popular by that film. Or that video game. Looks great. The white emblem I'm not a fan of, but
No, me neither.
I'm not a big gaming review guy, so I don't have all the specifics and how to describe what I'm seeing, but it looks good.
I love how
I'd play it. I'd play
Yeah.
a shit ton of it and
Oh shit, yeah.
probably not eat. Just play it.
Yes, play it all the way through. I love how like the gameplay action like is seamless into the cutscenes narratively, taking you into the story, and then you're playing it.
That was how Batman Arkham was too.
Holy shit, Meridew, thoughts on this?
I have several points because I have played several Spider-Man games, going back even further than Enter Electro. I played the fucking first Spider-Man PC game where he's like flipping around and stuff. But anyway, I agree. It's a bit like I've got a lot of things to talk about. It's a lot like Arkham Asylum, I grant you, but I feel like it's a suitable mesh between Arkham Asylum and the best Spider-Man game ever made, Spider-Man 2, a fucking movie tie-in game, and it's one of the best video games I think ever made.
Absolutely.
And because it includes it's with Spider-Man 2, the combat was very simple and minimalistic. Here it's a bit more expanded upon, but not in a too aggressive way. I think it works for Spider-Man because there's contextual interactions with various sorts of things. You can like move beams around with your webs and stuff, and it's all very nice and stylish. So I think that feels very reminiscent of Web of Shadows, Spider-Man game out from recently, which was very good, and which I counted would be a very decent Spider-Man game, but also it's got the web sling, like the traversing and the traveling around with the web swing.
Yeah.
It depends on how, I won't know if it's good until I actually get down to play it, because there have been 3 games that I think truly capture Spider-Man's web. Spider-Man 2, Web of Shadows, and Ultimate Spider-Man, which was sort of based on the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. But the Web of Shadows and Ultimate Spider-Man, the web swinging, it was good, but it didn't feel very naturalistic. It felt like I was constantly fighting it. Whereas with Spider-Man 2, it felt very natural and free-throwing.
Yeah, you could go anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so hopefully that'll turn out well. I was a bit concerned by the appearance of my dreaded nemesis, QTEs, aka Quick Time Events, which spoiled Web of Shadows a lot for me, because basically with Web of Shadows, what happened is a little circle would appear on the screen, and then you'd see a button that you'd have to press, and that button would slowly inch over to the circle, and when it went into the circle, you had to press it. This was bad because it meant that whenever you'd be like fighting the vulture in the sky, you've been flipping around the sky and punching and all sorts of cool stuff, but you couldn't see any of that because you were focusing on the QTEs. But in the new Spider-Man game, the PS4, it seems just something appears on the screen, you press it, done. It's very simple, as QTEs ought to be, and it makes sense within the context, so it'll depend when I play it, if it's annoying or not, but I have very high hopes, but that white emblem is stupid!
So I like how, Spider-Man 2 was like the Grand Theft Auto type play, which was popular at the time, and now they've taken this Batman Arkham Asylum with your QTEs and pressing L2 and R2 to shoot webs when it tells you to keep the cinematic cutscene going. Yeah, we'll see, man. I could see. I'm gonna watch someone play this whole game on YouTube. That's all I'm gonna do once it comes out. But it's not coming out till next year. And apparently there's no killing. Like, he doesn't kill. You'll notice in the trailer, everybody he ejects, he kind of saves them. He like webs them and throws them into the building. Nobody actually.
Doesn't he not kill in the comics? What is this? Is this surprising?
Yeah. I mean, but they make it a point to where when he punches somebody out of the helicopter, he actually sees them like catch him and save him, which is kind of cool. Oh, and Miles Morales is in this too at the very end. He's taking photos, which is interesting to see how they work that in. Okay, last thing for the news section, everybody. War for Planet of the Apes that we said is coming out right after the week after Spider-Man Homecoming. It is getting very positive early reactions on Twitter. Some of the comments saying, I just had the pleasure of seeing War for the Planet of the Apes. Jesus, you guys, start hydrating now. You're going to need it. Wow. It's just phenomenal. I could watch apes on horses in the mountains and snow forever. The special effects are so seamless. It's downright eerie. War is a world-class filmmaking top to bottom, equal to Rise, and it has to be said, better than Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Anthony, how hyped does this get you?
I just need this movie to come out already. I watched the there's a clip online. I probably shouldn't be watching them, but I did. the Bad Ape clip where you meet a new ape, and oh my god, it's fucking fantastic. I mean, they are doing God's work. And not enough people are noticing this shit, dude. This stuff is next level. The apes are fucking amazing, and they're people. I don't understand. Like, they're making like epic Shakespearean, like Greek, myth, stories here, where it's just like epic, and it's with apes. Like, I don't understand. Like, people don't understand that this is what people are acting like apes. But they're doing Shakespeare epics.
I mean, some of the best shit Matt Reeves does is like, there's close in shots of eyes, in a lot of this movie. You think with this much CGI, you'd kind of back it up, have a wider shot. No, you're right in and you see every little wrinkle, every little hair, every little expression. What you said about epic is great. Matt Reeves shared what some of his influences were. He says, I wanted this film to be like a biblical epic, revealed in the newest issue Empire magazine. Mark Bombach, Reeves co-writer, and I looked at classic war movies. The Bridge on the River Kwai, Patton, and Apocalypse Now is what he's pulling from. And it seems to be there. He says, we were also thinking in terms such as the 10 Commandments. I wanted to feel very intimate in the foreground, but with grand vistas always dwarfing the characters. That looks awesome. Meridew, are you into this franchise? Are you watching this trailer or not?
Well, here's the thing. I saw the trailer for the first one of this new bunch of 8 movies, and it had James Franco in it, and I hate his face, so I haven't seen any of them yet.
Oh, you're missing out.
You gotta watch them.
I honestly, when the one after that came out, I thought I should probably get around to watching this at some point. So I will get around to it, and I'll probably maybe even see it in theaters when I do get around to it. But
let me say
I've
this.
heard good things.
Let me tell you this, Scott. It's Cliff Notes version. The first one is like when you watch that, surprisingly very good and very charming. Like you're like, wow, I didn't expect James Franco Planet of the Apes reboot to actually be good. The second one though is when you're like, holy shit, they are all in and they're fucking acting as apes and destroying cinema. And
You're
this
buying
third one,
it,
and
this
third one is going to kill everybody.
Yeah,
you got it. It's so good.
David, what do you think about this? Are you excited for this?
So I really liked the first movie, and I liked the first half of the second movie, but I felt like it got a bit too, like, the climax just dragged on too much in the second movie. But I will say, the more I've seen the trailer for the new one, the more and more excited I've gotten. Like, each time I've seen the trailer, like, I think it's going to be really good, and I'm starting to get a little bit hyped now.
I just can't wait to see Caesar and fucking what's his name face off. Woody Harrelson, bald Woody Harrelson. It looks badass. It's kind of like the guy. He's like this character from the Natural Born Killers.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, Mickey. What's his name? I can't remember. That would be awesome. Oliver Stone directing Planet of the Apes with Woody Harrelson. All right, look.
Hang on. Have I told you guys my story about how I met Andy Serkis?
No.
Tell us.
All right, well, I'm going to tease that. We'll save it for the post show.
Oh, you bastard. Oh, shit. All right. And with that, listener, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to play some fun promos from some of our pod buddies, and we will continue.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey folks, my name is Trip Lano, and I am one of the co-hosts of Dissecting the 80s here with my tag team partner,
Andrew Lano.
Every other week, we get together and talk about a weird 80s movie, making fun of the clothes and the drama and the hair. And we also have fun little side discussions, like I try to make every romantic scene underscored by roll to me.
Has there ever been, like, the Nicholas Sparks swamp?
She was a girl. He was a swamp. Go around the world, pretty baby.
That's not Nicholas Sparks. That's late 90s. She's all that. And I try and talk the logistics of how flying cars would work.
So are the medians going to have, like, football goalposts to make them higher now so you don't cross into oncoming traffic?
Yeah.
What happens if the guy in second row over, third car down, needs to get off to the right?
I should have thought of that.
So if you want a little more of that, check us out at dissectingthe80s.com or
available wherever fine podcasts are sold.
Do you like superheroes? Do you like movies, television shows, and comic books? Do you like listening to a guy rant about these things for hours on end? Well, then you're in luck, because you need to check out Podcapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape. Featuring me, Scott James Meridew, we'll be talking about a variety of geek and nerdy issues, joined each week by a rotating panel of guests that will try to contain me. Jokes on them, I cannot be contained. So please join us on Podcapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape, where superheroes go to relax, but I never do. Cue the music!
My name is Carrie Sims, and I host sketching comedy with my artist friends, Imran Javed.
Hey, that's me.
And Phil Rude each week live on YouTube. Hang out with us as I learn and discuss the legends of comic book art and comedians, while the fellows are creating live drawings during the show. I learned Bill Burr has a brother that was almost a replacement for the late Senator Ted Kennedy.
Yikes. Carrie, did you know he was also on Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place as an extra? I blame him for Ryan Reynolds.
Visit BlazingCaribouStudio.com or tune in each week on our YouTube channel and download the podcast at iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever podcasts are found.
Catch you later.
Jock and Nerd.
Hey, listener, have you been enjoying the Jock and Nerd podcast? Want more show? There's more show if you join our fan club on Patreon. Just visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon and join the community. You'll get an RSS link with bonus audio. There's like 10, 11 hours. It gets bigger every week of bonus post-show episodes. And you're helping keeping the show rolling. We've had a bunch of new patrons in the past few weeks. It's been amazing. So right now, I'm just going to read the list. I want to say super thank you to the following people. Joe Henry, our newest patron, super patron. He is a super patron because he pledged at a high tier. Also, Jim McPike, Philip Milan, David Molofsky, right here for a place to hang your cape. David Zika, check out Zika's Viral Comics on eBay. Dr. Adam Morris, PhD. Ron S. Hans. Matthew Lawrence, Blazing Caribou Studios, Stephen Tran, Joe from Work, Steve Morrison, and Matt Delhauer.
Geek Boner.
The list is pretty long, and we need to get it longer. David, thanks for supporting us on the fan club. How about you? Let's get another testimonial. You sell the people on signing up on our Patreon. What do you got?
I mean, Imran, you already know this. I can't get enough of the Jock and Nerd.
That's why I love you.
I need so much audio in my life now. Like for my commute, I listen to podcasts at work. So having basically like 2 Jock and Nerd shows a week is amazing.
Bonus.
It means I'm never without my headphones anymore.
Oh, that's great. Let's bring this up. Master of None. You heard us talk. We didn't talk. We talked about it a little bit on the show. And you wanted to discuss Master of None.
Yeah, so you guys talked about it a little bit on the show, and then I was listening to you talking about it on the post show, and a few of the things that you were saying, I was like, I need to stop right now, and I just went and I downloaded Master of None from Netflix, and I just watched it, and it was fucking amazing. So Thank you for recommending that, because I wasn't planning on watching it. Yeah, like I really didn't like I watched the first season, and I really didn't like how it the tail end of it, the last few episodes. And so by the time season 2 was out, I was like, I'm not going to bother. But then you were talking about it, and I was like really going in depth in the post show stuff. It actually sounds really cool. I kind of want to watch this for myself.
I'll agree, and I binged it from like the 3rd episode of the first season into the 2nd season, and it works really well. Aziz Ansari has done more for brown people than like actual like brown political activist people. Like it's one of the best things about the show, and it's weird for me to relate to a lot of the things that goes on in the show, like the whole being a Muslim and not really practicing and going to eat barbecue during the last day of Ramadan. Like, I love that shit. And the fact that Fisher Stevens was not an Indian actor, but we thought he was for years in Short Circuit. So I'm glad you checked it out. I'm glad we can turn you on. So, listener, join the fan club. You're going to get turned on to cool shit like that.
My one thing about Master of None, and I was saying this on a podcast I was on Friday, is that like every single episode of the 2nd season is different.
Yes.
Like the format is different. The length is different. Sometimes the color or the sound will be different, like everything. And it was so creative just as a season of TV. And it makes me really hopeful for like the future of Netflix, that maybe they'll do more shows that can like use the medium in that way a lot better.
Yeah, that's a good point. And like he really got inspired for the 2nd season, and you see all these different influences from Italian movies to just everything that's around him. So check out anybody. Meridew, Anthony, you guys watch any Master of None?
Not so far.
Yeah.
I have not watched it, no, but it's on the list.
Listen.
Along with lots of other things that are on the list.
It's what I
will never watch.
It's what I call good brown content. Shit. In a good way. Brown people content.
I thought that's what comes out of Ruck Boy's Slackhole.
Yes, very good brownie content. Okay, look, before we get to the Podcapers, I want you guys to talk about your podcast a little bit. We got to talk about Universal's Dark Universe and The Mummy, because, like, again, I am obsessed with what a fucking fiasco and disaster and flop this thing seemingly seems to be.
Well, let's real quick. It seems like we have someone that's seen the movie on.
Oh,
here.
Who's seen it?
I went to see it last night.
Oh, shit. Okay, Molofsky.
I'm going to break it down.
Okay. You break it down. What'd you think of the movie? Give us a quick review.
So, the movie, it's really weird tonally, first of all. So,
spoiler alert. Are we spoiling things here?
Oh, yeah. We're going to, hold on.
Spoiler alert.
There you go.
All right.
So, basically, like the first act of the movie is actually really strong, and it plays like sort of like an action comedy, sort of like the same tone as the first, the Brendan Fraser trilogy. And it's got a really nice like vibe to it. And then so that's all when they're in like the Middle East and stuff. As soon as they get like back to like the West, like they land in London, and everything just sort of starts turning into like the Avengers a little bit.
Oh boy.
Where basically Russell Crowe's Jekyll sort of plays like a Nick Fury kind of role.
Yeah.
And it's like he's got like a monster fighting thing, like group, and it's like there's hints at like vampires and werewolves and like fish monsters and things
that go bump in the night.
Yeah, and it's just like it takes this weird turn, and it just suffers from that same basically exactly what happened with like Batman v Superman and all those other things, where it's like they're not focused on this movie, they're focused on the next 6.
Yikes.
And like if they had just done this movie, I think it would have been really good. But as it stands, it feels like there's like 3 movies kind of trying to get out. So there's one movie with Tom Cruise as Nick Action Hero, who is like, you know, cracking wise and like basically being Tom Cruise and like being really smug and funny
and running a lot.
Yeah, and running a lot. Then there's this like interesting supernatural, like the Mummy element, and sometimes the tones of that don't match. Like he goes from like this really dark moment of being like talking to the woman and being like, she's like, I think we angered the old gods, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It goes from that to him chatting with his undead best friend in the women's bathroom. And then from that, it cuts to him having this like really horrifying vision of like rats covering his body. And it's sort of like it's really disjointed.
Oh,
and
the rats thing is a vision? That's like the fucking Batman nightmare scene.
Yeah, and it's just sort of like the whole thing is like there's 3 different movies kind of fighting to get out. The other one is the Jekyll and Hyde, where like Dr. Jekyll is like this, you know, like basically Nick Fury, but they fight monsters.
Wow,
it's just weird. And like saying all that, like I still thought it was fun.
Yeah,
but I think it would have been a lot better if they were like, "Here's the Mummy," and then there's an end credit scene with Jekyll coming out, and if they had just been like hinted at like, "There's a doctor who's a specialist."
I want you for the Dark Universe Initiative.
Yes. Have you heard of it? That would have been great. Have you heard of the Dark Universe? Is the action at least any good? Like the action in the trailers looked pretty good.
Every scene that the Mummy is in, like she killed it. Like I couldn't take my eyes off of her.
Nice.
Like she's hot. She's powerful. She's like determined, and like her powers are really cool. Like she's kind of got this like psychic connection to Tom Cruise. He's like driving away from her, trying to get away. And then he realizes that he's actually driven in a circle, and he's driving right back to her.
Whoa.
And it's sort of like that's how the movie kind of plays, where it's like they kind of pull away from the Mummy, and then everything just sort of brings back to her. And she gets some really cool like scenes of just like interrogation kind of scenes and stuff, and like very like Joker kind of moments. She's great. The rest of it.
Does Cruise have like superhero powers by the end of it?
Do you guys really want me to tell you?
I don't know.
Hit
what do you
the
guys?
spoiler alert button.
I look.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna watch this for free somewhere, but
yeah, 100%. He basically it ends with him. He like becomes the living vessel for Set, the god of the dead.
Oh shit!
And he has like power over life and death. But it's sort of like
you can't give Tom Cruise that kind of power.
No,
that's dangerous.
Yeah, and, like, it totally ends with him like riding off into the sunset with his best friend, and like Jekyll's like, you know, we should find him. He could be our most powerful weapon against evil, and it has this very like Avengers vibe to it. Like,
damn, we
need to find him to help fight these other monsters. And in my mind, it's just like, I feel like his story's kind of over.
Yes. I think this whole universe is over. Well, like we said, the movie came out, did not hit number 1 its first weekend, and still did not hit number 1. It made $32 million domestically opening weekend, but then it made
Terrible. That's terrible.
That's horrible. That's horrible because the budget was a lot, but it made $141 million overseas. So it had a combined opening of 174 million worldwide, which is the largest international opening for a Tom Cruise film ever, which I was also surprised. So China is eating this up. And I think, is it smart, guys? This is what I'll get to. Is it smart to announce a whole universe and franchise before you even put the first fucking movie out?
I mean, having seen the movie, if I didn't know that there was going to be a whole universe of movies surrounding this, the movie itself wouldn't make sense. Like Jekyll, like the inclusion of it, like basically the movie stops for like it gets the second act and then it just stops just so that they can introduce Dr. Jekyll, and it's sort of like it comes out of nowhere and it makes like it got a laugh when he was like, "My name is Dr. Henry Jekyll."
Oh no!
So I think that like they had to. And in doing so, they ruined the movie.
Here's my thoughts on this. Because I was actually, in theory, excited for a Universal Monsters modern day crossover event because the Universal Monsters are the OG shared universe.
Yeah.
First off, Alex Kurtzman, the director of this film.
Yes.
If he is the guy leading the charge on your shared universe, you are fucked.
Yeah, probably.
This is the guy that wrote all the Transformers films and the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh,
this is not the guy.
Lost.
He's not. This is not the guy you want leading a fucking franchise. This is not your Joss Whedon, your Kevin Feige, even your Zack Snyder. This
he
guy
doesn't have the large vision. Clearly,
this guy is terrible. This
You
guy's
don't want him
terrible.
leading a conga line, let alone a franchise.
This guy is terrible. But here, let me continue.
Yeah,
I would have liked to have seen a crossover Mummy and all this stuff. Mummy, Dracula, Creature from Black Lagoon, all that shit. That'd have been cool. But the problem, what turned me off when I was seeing these trailers is, like, what are you going for? Because are you going for horror?
Yeah.
'Cause this isn't horror. Are you going for huge epic sci-fi? You are kind of, but why? That's the Mummy. Like the Mummy for me, it didn't need to be this world-ending event.
No.
I don't understand. I don't even get, as a fan watching the trailers, I don't even understand why the Mummy has all these powers. What I thought the Mummy was just someone wrapped in fucking toilet paper walking around real slow. Like what are we watching here? So I don't the fact that they're making this like epic movie out of a character that's just the Mummy, it just doesn't work for me. It's incongruent to what I would think the Mummy story should be. And then to announce a whole universe, and it seems like that's what they did. It's they're falling into the same trap that BVS fell into, that Amazing Spider-Man 2 fell into, where you're not concerned about making a good film. All you're concerned about is telling us that you're making a lot of films.
Yeah. I would say this is definitely like Amazing Spider-Man 2 syndrome.
They're shoving all this stuff in, and it seems kind of old school. Their model for this, in the sense that they're like, "Hey, we got these big names being these monsters."
Right.
The movie industry's changed. Nobody gives a fuck who's starring in the movie anymore. It's all about brand management and brand awareness.
It's weird too. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Yeah,
is not a Universal monster character.
Oh, he's not. Huh. That's interesting. They needed some.
They acquired him and they've thrown him in this.
Huh.
But he's not. He wasn't in
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen as well.
Yeah, which that was
that's
also
the reason why they
good.
picked up Jekyll.
Maybe the Phantom of the Opera was busy. Who knows?
No, they've added Phantom.
They're making that film. The
Yeah.
in there.
They added Hunchback of Notre Dame and Phantom of the Opera, which if you're doing this in present day, I don't know how you do those in present day. Also, Alex Kurtzman, this is his second movie he's directed. He did People Like Us, which was not, it was like a small drama.
One more thing, when they announced those other two films, that's another thing where I'm like, so you have The Mummy, and from what Scott or David said, this Tom Cruise has basically now got the Mummy powers. He's got control life and death, right?
Yeah.
So then, how would you incorporate the Hunchback of Notre Dame in, like,
it doesn't make
Hunchback
sense.
He's just a deformed dude.
Yeah.
And like in the Phantom of the Opera, but I think was it you guys, or it might have been the Weekly Planet that was saying that like they're gonna have like their main movies, and then there's one of the subsidiary studios that's gonna make other movies just set in the same world, but they're not actually gonna like connect.
Damn, that doesn't make any sense.
That wasn't us, no.
Yeah,
but internationally, this film's being carried it looks like this franchise, although shit here domestically, it looks like it might have some legs, at least for a couple more films.
Yeah, but this should have made $250 million. It shouldn't. It should have been a 250 open worldwide. That's what was it? Fast and Furious did, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and it's
but should it have? I mean, you look. Everyone saw the trailers. Was anyone like, man, I'm dying to see The Mummy after this?
No, I'm basically just saying that, like, it totally underperformed in the States.
And the thing, The Mummy's a weird choice too. Like, the whole thing was weird. Like, The Mummy, we just had a Mummy franchise, maybe less than 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah,
maybe less. We just had that. You throw Tom Cruise in there as the main star, but he's in The Mummy and he's not The Mummy.
And he's not The Mummy.
Yeah. So then, and also here's another, like, if you cross over all these things, all these characters are kind of villains.
Yeah. Who's the good guys? Who's the bad guys?
What are we rooting? Are they just going to come up upon each other? But then are we wanting to see them interact, or are they going up against something bigger? Like, what? I don't understand.
Form some kind of Suicide Squad.
Right.
No. Is each movie going to be like world-ending consequence plot? It's going to fucking
and then how do you do that with the Phantom of the Opera?
No, and the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and how do you like erase like the cartoon and the Andrew Lloyd Webber? So there's a report from Variety that's blaming Tom Cruise for a lot of this. They say the star's contract granted him broad creative control, with Cruise having input in virtually every step of production, from the script to editing to marketing. He brought on two of the film's writers and gave his blessing to the selection of director Alex Kurtzman, an established writer and producer whose only previous directorial credit is the low-budget drama People Like Us. So he just cruised, he just cruised all over this, spooged all over The Mummy.
Yeah, I mean, it plays like that. Like there's definitely scenes, like whenever he's on screen, it's definitely like, it's got this Tom Cruise tone to it.
The Tom Cruise movie, damn it.
Yeah. And it's like, you can tell that like some of the lines were definitely like punched up a bit and stuff like that.
And I don't even think this opening weekend, I think all of the other Mummies made more money opening weekend. Like it didn't even break any of those records.
Who are the names they have? They have Cruise. Obviously they have Cruise, but Javier Bardem is he the Wolfman?
Frankenstein. He looks like Frankenstein.
And then Johnny Depp is going to to what?
The Invisible Man.
And they're talking to Angelina Jolie for Bride of Frankenstein. Then Russell Crowe is Jekyll.
Right.
And then Kurtzman is producer on Van Helsing, Invisible Man, Bride of Frankenstein, upcoming.
Yeah.
I don't think these names are going to matter anymore. It's not enough to save this if you're going to fucking Tom Cruise this up all the time.
It gets even worse. So like the fun thing that I think I caught this. So there's a scene in the movie where I think there's an Easter egg that it may be in the same universe as the original the Brendan Fraser Mummy series.
Oh no. What?
You leave those movies alone, Universal.
I mean, it was bad enough when they brought Jet Li in for the last one, but like,
at least those movies knew what they were, and they were kind of trying to be like a fun Indiana Jones fucking kind of thing that worked. John Landis been talking a lot of shit about shared universes lately. Here's what he has to say about the Dark Universe. He said, well, John Landis, American Werewolf in London, he directed Thriller for Michael Jackson. He says, first of all, it's not a new idea. If you remember with Universal back in the 40s, once they made all their classics, they started cross-pollinating. House of Dracula, House of Frankenstein, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. You know what they used to call those? Monster rallies. And then, of course, one of the great ironies is what was considered, okay, it's over now, was Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein, which is actually a very funny movie and very respectful of the monsters. I think maybe that's one of the problems with Universal's Dark Universe, is that it isn't respectful of the monsters. When they want to reinvent, and sometimes it works great, look at David Cronenberg's The Fly or John Carpenter's The Thing, it can be done. And I mean, Landis knows a thing about monster movies. He's a big monster movie guy. But man, wow, we'll see. I mean, they're going to still have to go forward with the fucking all these sequels they announced. It's turning into like a DC Warner Brothers situation.
I think they've got a couple years though before I think Bride of Frankenstein's the next one.
Yeah, it's supposed to come out in 2019. What'll probably happen is they will move forward with at least one more film, but the leash is a lot shorter on this, and this will probably flame out before anything really awesome gets made or any of these films really get made. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea because they're not focused on creating. These stories don't have to be world ending. They're small horror film stories. If they went the horror route, maybe it might have a little bit more legs because they wouldn't have to go with this crazy budget, but they're trying to blow this up, and it's already a bad idea. It was a bad idea from the start.
Or just go completely like campy B movie, you know, and bring that back kind of thing. Just choose one thing. What the fuck? Like, it sounds like what you said, Molofsky. It's a bunch of different movies trying to come out of this one movie.
And I mean, it's very much like Amazing Spider-Man 2, which we'll be talking about on our next episode of Podcapers with you guys later on. So
I think it'll make its money back and a little bit more, but it's definitely international market. All right, I don't know. I think it's so fascinating to see, like, Tom Cruise, like, he's committed to things. He would not make a movie that fails like this, but it still gave him his biggest international opening. It's very strange. Yeah. Okay, guys, last thing before we wrap up, I want to turn you, the listener, on to Meridew and Molofsky's podcast, Podcapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape. You guys, how did this podcast start? I want the story of Podcapers.
Oh, well, we're going to have to go back a few years thinking about it. It was the second con that you and I went to, the London Film and Comic Con, David?
Yeah, I want to say it was it 2014? Maybe 2015. 2015.
I think it was probably 2015.
Yeah. 2 years ago.
Yeah, definitely 2014. And we've been to the con. We'd had a good time. We went to the pub, and you were quite enamored with my voice. Who could blame you?
Yes. Yeah. I think it was me and our friend Neil from T-Pub as well was talking about how you have such a great voice.
And you were just like, you should do a podcast. You should do a podcast. You're brilliant. You're amazing. Do a podcast. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Maybe at some point. We'll think about it. Inside, I was like, I would love to do that. Yes, please. And so it's sort of, that was the inception of it all. Mm-hmm. And then just not too long ago, actually, was it last year? Near the end of last year, we just said,
it was the tail end of last year. After, so basically what happened is I can talk. After that con, I had just got
Words are hard.
Yeah, they're hard. After that con, I just got a new job, and then I was working on our second calendar last year. So it was still so that took up so much of my time. And as soon as we finished the bullying calendar, the one that Imran helped us out with, we basically started chatting. It was you, me, and Mark, who's also sort of like one of the other executive producers of the show, I'll say. And we sort of just like developed it sort of over the winter, throwing around a lot of different ideas. And then we started recording in February?
Yeah, it was definitely February. Yeah. And we just caught a bunch of episodes all in one go, released them all in one go, and things sort of went out from there.
That's awesome. Yeah. How many shows you got out now?
16.
Right on.
16. Yes.
Yeah. Or 17. 17.
Oh, 17? Oh, yes.
This week was 17. Was 15. Yeah. 17.
And what's the format of the show? I mean, Meridew's voice is fantastic. It makes me smile just hearing him read the fucking phone book. I love it.
Aaron Aronson.
There you go. Where does he live? What's the format of the show? You doing news, reviews, interviews? What are you giving the listeners?
Sometimes we do reviews. Most of the time we do basic talking about various geek and nerdy topics, each week with a different special guest, because if it was just me by myself, people would get bored pretty quickly.
So David is not on every show.
No, I'm not. I wanted to be, but ultimately we decided that it made more sense just for Scott to be the voice of the podcast, and that way it's sort of like having a rotating cast. And it would let us have more of the A Place to Hang Your Cape writers come on, and then we've had some comic creator guests as well. And we've actually had so many requests for guests that we are currently booked up from now until December.
Nice.
Well, Scott does have a voice for this, so
yeah, it's very
and I've seen his face, so he definitely fits. Podcast.
I'm not allowed to leave the house.
Well, now you hear Scott, you think of Podcapers, you think of A Place to Hang Your Cape, and with your built-in audience from the website, I think it's a great move. And much like
this is basically what Imran was preaching, like in the early days of our podcast.
When I told everyone to have
get a podcast, just so great, you should get a podcast.
I got a couple of people started podcasts. Daniel Nosker started a podcast. These guys started a podcast. So I hope I was somewhat influential. Molofsky.
I hope you took no influence from Imran and did it on your own.
I just wanted to hear that I was the impetus for this brilliant idea. No, I mean, it's great. Like, you know, we said on the last episode, it's a smaller space. If you're running a blog, there's like 2,000 blogs for every podcast. So it's a better ear to mouth ratio. Never go ass to mouth. Always go ear to mouth. But where do you have any fun moments so far from the podcast that you want to share?
Well, there was these rare times when occasionally we go a bit musical.
Oh, no.
Because I sometimes write these rather loving and touching parody of Disney songs. Such classics like Be Our Guest, I've turned into Be Our Captive. Never Had a Friend Like Me is now I Really, Really Hate Disney. You get the theme that I'm going for.
I like that. Very subversive Disney spoofs. Anytime you subvert the Disney, I like that.
I like it too. It keeps me warm at night.
So, Molofsky, you guys having fun still doing this?
Yeah, we're loving it. We just relaunched on Patreon as well, using the podcast as part of it. So, you know, it's been really fun. We've had I've been on I think 4 or 5 episodes now, and I'm trying to get on as many as I can. It's been a blast.
Right on. Scott, what's coming up? Anything exciting coming up in the podcast?
Oh, of course, we've got our crossover with you guys. Yes. That's going to be a lot of fun. We got the Place to Hang Your Cape TV Awards.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You can still vote, actually. When this show comes out, you'll still be able to vote for the TV Awards to get those in so that you can force Scott to talk about all the DC shows that he hates.
That's going to win. Dude, that'll be fun. Listener, I'll put a link in the show notes. They run a great TV awards. Last year, we had David come on and announce the results, and fucking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. swept up everything. Now, there's more shows this season, but I have a feeling Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. may still pull out a bunch of these categories. What do you think, David?
From what I've seen on Twitter, there's definitely the fandoms are sort of arguing a lot over these. I've seen a lot of Supernatural fans come out of the woodwork.
Oh, fucking Supernatural.
And a lot of Supergirl fans as well.
Yeah.
If we've noticed anything doing that show last year with you, David, is that people are dumb.
We always knew this to be true. This isn't a surprise.
It just reconfirms it.
Yeah.
People are dumb.
So yeah, and like I said, we have a lot of really great guests lined up. We have one very, very special coming in September, but I'm not going to announce who it is exactly yet. And yeah, it literally, like, we've got, we're a weekly show, and I think we have the next 30 episodes like locked in.
Oh shit, nice.
Crazy.
That's the thing, keeping it going, keeping it consistent. It's a little bit of a juggling act, but it helps. Consistency, just come out when you come out and make sure there's something there. Why don't you tell the listeners where they can find all this fun stuff?
Well, you can find us on A Place to Hang Your Cape. That's www.ap2hyc.com/Podcapers. Also on Podbean, iTunes, Weeby Geeks, and the Tangent Bound Network. Basically, go on Google and type in Podcapers. You'll find us.
Right on. You're going to fill up your playlist with great geek podcasts like ours, like Podcapers. Jim McPike was saying last week, like, he's enjoying writing for you guys, and he drove here from Wisconsin listening to Jock and Nerd and Podcapers, and then he was on Jock and Nerd, and he drove home listening to Jock and Nerd. It was a pretty meta experience for him. He tweeted to us, so that's fun. Check out Podcapers.
I'm glad we could check out Podcapers for sure, and I'm glad that the listeners had to go through us casturbating for the last 5 minutes. That's awesome.
Masturbation.
Oh, we're so awesome. We do these podcasts. Oh, we're so cool.
Hey, look,
you lined up for the show as well.
Yeah, what? Say that again?
You got Jimmy lined up for Podcapers.
Oh, you got Jimmy lined up for Podcapers. Excellent.
Great. He knows his history.
Yeah. He
Counting on
knows
it.
a lot. Look, this is word of mouth is how you got to spread the independent podcast. We don't have networks. We don't have fucking NPR money. Just tell a friend, tell everyone. If you like it, leave a review, post it. Same with our show, their show. It's how we're going to grow the fucking geekery. It's the only way.
Show you some growth, son of a bitch.
You grow your geekery your way. I grow my geekery my way. And with that, well, that's great, guys. Check out Podcapers. That's it for this show. Minus all the technical fuck ups that I'm going to cut out. That listener, you have no idea what we just went through.
Yeah, you don't know what we just went through to put this show out.
The commitment. The horror.
The commitment we show to our fans. Is unlike any other.
You, that's
you guys,
right.
We do it for you because you guys all suck and live with your mom at home. So.
Oh shit.
And with that, look, if you want to hear more of my dumbass, check out Sketching Comedy and Trivia Geeks podcast. You'll also hear Meridew on Trivia Geeks, where he stays up till 4 a.m. drinking Scottish tea with crack in it to keep him awake or something. I don't know what it is. You have some
The
weird
secret ingredient is more crack.
I see. It's the crack that's that really does the trick. Subscribe to the show wherever. Leave us a review. Write in. But most importantly, listener, tell a friend. Spread the geekery. Get everyone on board this geek train, and life will be great and hilarious. Thanks for listening. Thanks for checking out the Jock and Nerd podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
We'll catch you next time. We're going to do Podcapers now.